Alright then, welcome back to the Zay's World channel. It is Zay here, and this is another episode of the Report Card. And today we actually are going to be reviewing the movie Trap that was written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Before we get into it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. And of course, Chris is here as well. Go ahead, stick your hand out. Yeah, Chris is here as well. And so we literally just left the theater probably like about 20 or so minutes ago. So let's just go ahead and give you guys our thoughts on Trap. So just to let you know, yeah, when it comes to this one, we're also going to be spoiling the film because we're just going to keep it. It's an M. Night Shyamalan film. We've spoiled all of them up until this point. This is our third M. Night. This is our third film from the Shyamalan family that we reviewed on the channel. We reviewed Knock at the Cabin, which was made by M. Night. We reviewed The Watchers, which was done by his daughter, and then of course we did Trap. Yeah, like I said, we only watched one trailer of this, but with that being said, let's go ahead and start off with the story and the plot line. Once again, as you can see here, spoilers will be revealed, so if you want to not be spoiled from this movie, come back afterwards. If you don't give a damn, hey, we just warned you, that's all. Let's go ahead and get into the plot and the storyline of this movie. It's based around Cooper. Cooper and his daughter Riley go to a concert. The artist is Lady Raven, and we find out, if you've seen the trailer...
No Teen Titans.
Yeah, no Teen Titans. But Cooper is actually... he also has another name, which is called the Butcher, because he is a serial killer. And at this concert, it's actually a trap to trap him, to get him, to finally catch him. I think it's been like 7 or so years that he's been doing this, so they finally were able to kind of get a scenario to get him into, and so the entire movie is him figuring out a way to get out of that. That's a baseline of what it is. Like we said, if you saw the trailer, that pretty much told you
all of it.
Pretty much all of it. Once again, I think we're used to this when it comes to M. Night Shyamalan movies. It's a good concept. We've never seen anything like this before. How many concert movies can you name that a serial killer concert? I can't. This is the first one. They had me in the first half. That's what I'll say. They had me in the first half. What were you thinking about, plot and storyline wise of this film?
They didn't have me at all.
Okay.
Guys, I'm the more negative one. He's really nice. Once again, M. Night Shyamalan, if there's 5 things he's juggling, he'll deliver on about 2 of them.
Yep.
That's just the ultimate truth. It's like you have such great concepts. There's a lot of things that we're lacking, which we'll get into later. Mm-hmm. But overall, now the storyline, that is correct. I have only seen concert serial killer type things when it's like a little section of a movie, not the entire movie. And the acting was great. I feel like everyone played their role very, very well.
And we'll get to that later too, yeah.
Everyone did really good on that. I would just say the storyline could have been great, but the plot and how it ended up fell through.
I would say that overall, with the plot and the storyline, like we said, it's something you've never seen before. We can tell you that. It's not something, you can't compare this to something that you might have seen in theaters. Like, there's other good horror companies that can do something kind of like this, but I think that when the whole movie was based around this concert, it did make the experience watching it rewarding in some ways, because it was a fun concert to watch, and we'll get to the acting of that later, but there were just some points in here that didn't really hit the way that we needed them to. But like I said, plot and storyline wise, it's fine, it's new, it's a brand new concept, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now, give it like 5 or 6 years, let's try to redo something like this in a different way. We're just keeping it real. But let's go ahead and let's get into the let's just get into the pacing of this movie. Let's just get into what it was. It's an hour and 45 minutes, so let's just get into that of it.
It was dragging. The pacing toward the end. Now, granted, like you said, the first half was fine in terms of what was going on, but ultimately, we did see a lot of it in the trailer.
Yes.
So it was to me, the majority of it was dragging, because I had already seen majority of this in the trailer. Then it started picking up whenever, he started taking things from the different employees, and started doing things to kind of manipulate his environments. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it was like at the very end, whenever, because M. Night, he's always going to throw in 1 or 2 or 3 twists, but it's like ultimately it's like 1 twist is fine, 2 twists, okay, 3 we're dragging. And that's what ultimately happened at the end with his wife. They could have only done 2 of those and it would have been just as effective. But for me, the pacing toward the end, the first hour, fine. The last 30 minutes were dragging. It was like, okay, we're going into the house, then we're going back to the house, then we're going to the wife, then we're outside with the Lady Raven. It's just like we're dragging it too much. It's like, okay, we can tighten this up.
Take some time. Let's just take some time to just say some things that we did appreciate about the film, that the film did grab us with. I did like the beginning. Like I said, the first hour was effective because they get into the concert. It's a normal concert. He's just a dad who's looking around and seeing all the security, which if you did not see the trailer, you would be thinking from his perspective, and how many people do when they go to concert, what's going on. Concerts are already, you know, scary as they can be, but when there's this much security, like every single exit is literally like occupied by a security guard. So of course he's already on his toes thinking about, you know, how do I stay safe and whatnot? How do I keep my daughter safe? And there's some nice little funny dad moments that he has with his daughter. They end up seeing Lady Raven from the outside when she comes in, and you do get the sense that yes, his daughter's a huge fan of her, as are a lot of people in the actual arena. But as the film starts to pick up, the reveal is what we see in the trailer, which he goes to the bathroom and he opens up his phone, and we're just, okay, he's the killer now. We know it. And I think that this is where you can take it one or two ways. You can go all in with it, which I think Shyamalan did. He said, look, get it out the way early. He's the killer. There's no twist of who the killer is. He's the killer. Yeah. We know that Cooper's the butcher. It could be this, it's a fake out. No, there's no red herring. We know who he is. So I understand.
And for all of my scary girls that don't like to be scared, or like, you know, you don't want to see someone getting butchered, it doesn't do that at all in this film. So it's not necessary. It's not a scary film. It's not a horror film. It's only like a thriller.
It's not
There's
gory,
no one gets hurt at all.
Well, that's a lot. People do get hurt, but in different ways. He's not.
No one dies.
No one dies in the film. Yes, we will say that's a huge spoiler. Yeah, but no one dies in the film. But the parts that made the film work were you were building up the character of Cooper and Riley, of this daughter and father, just trying to enjoy a concert for her. She's enjoying herself. You can tell that they really, you know, that they work well. The two actors, they did a good job with that. But once he started to realize that he was trapped, of course we know this part in the trailer too. Like I said, the trailer reveals so much. When he talks to the vendor, when he talks to the black merchandising guy, that is kind of where the film takes okay, we know he's the killer, how's he going to get out of here? And then he looks around and he sees other males, you know, who are kind of like, not his build, but just other males in general being taken out the crowd, you know, being pulled aside, and it builds some nice trepidation. That's when we're sitting there like, okay, now we're not relating to him, but we see why he's looking around so much, because he's like, shit, they're trying to come after me. That first hour, we were seeing his execution of trying to escape. Little things like seeing that the floor was Russ, I think. Yeah, it was Russ as a special guest performer, but the floor kind of came out for him to come up, and then the dad is kind of like, oh, let's go through the floor, you know, like, let's just go through there to try to escape.
Yeah, wouldn't that be funny to see what's down there? And the daughter's looking at him like, you're being weird. I don't know.
But then there were some other moments that I think could have been done better. Like you said, when he was with the SWAT in the SWAT room. You want to speak on that for a second?
But he ends up taking the merchandising guy, because he was really nice. You know, he ended up building kind of rapport with him.
Super nice.
Yeah, and then he ended up going in the back with him and literally helping him get a T-shirt for his daughter. So, you know, it's a quick, easy cover-up. Hey, honey, I'm leaving again because I'm going to go get your shirt, because the guy said come back in 10 minutes so that she can get her small shirt, because they were nice enough to let another girl get it, which they should have because she was there first. Mm-hmm. But anyways, after he gets the guy's employee card, which is just a quick swipe from it because the guy's reaching up for a box. After he takes it, he goes into another room and he's like, oh, I'm just trying to get some coffee. There's a whole SWAT team that's literally having a meeting talking about, hey, this, like, talking about one of the victims. He didn't deserve to die. He was like, just relaying information about one of the victims, trying to like hype them up, like, we need to find this guy, because like his other guys like this, the victim could be killed too. And then ultimately he goes in there and he's like trying to find, and he played it very well. He did it very smoothly, but to me it was very unrealistic, because okay, a random worker is coming into this room with a whole SWAT team meeting, and I'm just coming in here to get coffee.
Take it with what you will. When I saw it, I believe that it was just one employee. Like I'm not a SWAT person, but if I was a SWAT person, you focus on what your leader person is telling you, and obviously, as it was established in the film, the
When
staff.
that same man literally fits the description of the man you're trying to look at.
However,
that's weird.
Yeah. However, I will say this. We go back and forth on it. We're going to probably do it with this movie too. Of course, the staff was informed beforehand from the SWAT. They have like a code word, which was Hamilton, and so we'll get to that in a second.
Which the black guy ends up telling him.
Yeah, like I said, the black guy was, like I said, way too nice, wasn't believable. That was when I was like, okay, it's not as believable because you're saying too much. But when he was in the SWAT meeting, I think he played it off just cool enough to be like, hey, I'm just coming through here to get some coffee. That's it. Whatever. It progresses the story, but there could have been other things that was done differently. I want to pivot I just want to pivot real quick to
but then also before the end of that one, at the end, whenever he's leaving, he's like shoving the SWAT people out of the way like a Rudy. So to me, I'm just like, once again, SWAT, if there's a serial killer on the loose, the SWAT is going to check you. I'm sorry, you're literally coming in here to get coffee at this time right now. That's weird. We're going to check you and be like, hey, what are you doing in here? One person's going to at least question him. Why are you in here at this time? What are you doing? Let's see your card and let's see that code word, right? Or literally, like I said, to me, it was a bad oath too. That's why a lot of people say it's kind of very unrealistic because ultimately, if you have keywords and code things that you're supposed to do, everyone should know that. You don't need to say it. So that's another to me, a very bad plot point because I'm just like, once again, I know it's a movie, so I can't say everything's realistic, but it is very unrealistic that things like that would happen when a serial killer is on the loose. This isn't just someone who killed one person there and he's on the run. This is a serial killer. Yeah. So I just didn't like whenever he literally was leaving, like, and he's like shoving two of the guys in the back. No SWAT's gonna check him. Okay, yeah, let him go. Like, oh yeah, whatever, let him go.
I'll give you that one. Elements of this film that I thought could have been. Let's just get to some wasted elements of it. Let's just address Jody's mom. They tried to have a plot line in here, which we didn't need this, and we could have put more time into other things like flashback or even just showing his process of getting ready, whatever. But Jody's mom kind of stops him. He stops Cooper a couple of times, and they kind of get into this spat of like, I don't appreciate.
And Jody is just a girl she goes to school with.
Yeah. But essentially, I'll read that. So then, essentially, what happened with Jody's mom is that Jody's daughter who used to be friends, or I guess they were bullying maybe Riley at school, and they don't talk anymore. But then when Jody's mom catches Cooper at the concert, she stops him at first, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry that kind of happened." She's just trying to amend things, and he's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, it's fine. I don't really appreciate how my daughter was feeling." At first, I'm thinking, this can turn into something. Maybe he's going to end up killing her. I don't know. Because at this point, you're thinking, what is he capable of? And this is the only woman this is the only other person that knows him at the actual concert besides his daughter. So I'm thinking this could come into play in terms of you saw him. Let me tell you something right now. That shit don't matter. The whole plot line of Jody's mom stopping him, the second time she stopped him, she weirdly got into a spat with him, got aggressive, like, don't talk to me that way. And it was weird because they kind of tried to shoot it like the cops in the back were like, oh, what's going on? And as Cooper, he's like, damn, don't get attention on me. I'm trying to blend in as it is. But we didn't need to do that because it did not mean anything at all. Yeah. It made no sense. We didn't even see
another
Jody.
Plot point that didn't need to.
Exactly. We didn't even see the actual friend of Riley until later in the concert. Yeah. And then the mom and the daughter of them were just getting into it. I don't know if it was a jealousy thing. It did not make sense. It was
it was because Riley got to go up on stage for the Dreamer Girl.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It's a jealousy thing. It was just a jealousy thing. It didn't really matter. Like I said, wasted plot point. But let's move on to kind of like his execution. Because pacing wise, the film, I have seen some positive comments about this, and I will put this into too. I think the film is shot pretty well. It's not just clear. It's not just clear in terms of what you can see, but they do take time to show you certain things. There was a scene where they were showing like the greaser and the fries, and then they showed you the drinks that, if you put that in there, it starts to explode, and then they show Cooper's face, kind of showing you his God bless you, as they show you his process in terms of like what he's thinking, like this is my next move, this is how I get a little bit farther. The only thing is that, you know, when that had happened, this woman who was working the fry machine, she just stands over the grease and she sees the cracking of the actual jars in there, and then it explodes on her face. Okay, whatever. It explodes on her face. We'll just let that be as it is. He ends up taking an apron to look like he's an actual worker, you know, which I'm like, okay, you know, everybody's distracted by it. Fine, we'll let that go. He goes on the roof, and then he's stopped by a couple of the SWAT people. This is when they ask him for the code word, and he goes Hamilton, and then when they ask him for the card, for that split moment, we're thinking in the theater, oh, he doesn't have this though. How's he gonna get out of this one? And the black guy
didn't tell him about that either.
Exactly. It's like a seminar, or it was a lecture. It was a meeting. It was a lecture beforehand that we'll get to the old FBI woman, or
She's
Dr.
a doctor.
Grant. Yeah, we'll get to Dr. Grant in a second. But Dr. Grant was given a lecture, and she ended up giving him a card that is like the passage of like, okay, we know that you're in on this, you know, that type of thing. So when he's on that roof, it's a good moment because we're thinking, how's he going to get out of this? He just, I don't know, Deus Ex Machina, call whatever it is, he just gets lucky as hell. And literally the wallet of that employee, of the apron he took off, is in there. He shows them the card. But you obviously had a problem with that because it's like, okay, he just pulled it out of there and whatnot. It was luck. It was absolute luck in that moment in terms of what had happened there. It just wasn't.
To me, it's like, even if you wanted to make it super simple and still keep it in there just to have us on our toes of, ooh, how he's going to get out of this. Now, he already knew about the code word because the black guy had told him, you know, the merchandiser. But at the end of the day, they could have been like, okay, what else do you need to show us?
Exactly.
Something like that. A very vague question. And then he still could have just been reaching around and been like, oh, is it this, you know, like, and then
I wasn't really paying attention in the lecture. My bad. I just took a card, something like that. But hey, he got out of that. My problem is this other plot point where I'm like, what the hell were we thinking, M. Night? He comes back downstairs. He sees the woman who's fried up, you know, crispy.
Scarred.
She's crispy, you know, extra fried. But if you know, you know. It's in the movie. It's a dad thing. But super fried. But she's on the stretcher like, you know, like
wailing,
just wailing, convulsing, and then you see this. Oh, but like you see the people around her, and then it shows another like, his point of view, and it's just her. But then it's this old woman who you can't really see her face next to him, and then I'm thinking, okay, now we're about. What were we, like 30, 40 something minutes in the movie? I'm like, okay, we're introducing another element of this. Is this like his psyche? Are we going to get an introduction? Let me tell you something. Also, why did we fucking do this? It really did not play into the long game of what things were. So when they first did that, it seemed enticing. But then as the movie goes on, it reveals that, you know, it's Dr. Grant, and it's just his psyche thinking. It's just his mom. He's literally viewing his mom because he was abused, you know, a lot, or he was punished a lot. We don't get into his backstory.
We don't know really
as
what
much, and that's the problem. We don't need to. We don't need to get a backstory in a movie like this because we're already spending so much time on the escape. Focus on the escape and his planning. There are decent moments. He takes one of the and remember in the SWAT meeting, he took one of the SWAT people's walkie-talkies, and at the end of the day,
when everyone was turning around and looking at him, might I add,
I'm just like, come on now. But he takes one of the walkie-talkies. A good moment I did like is that he was listening to Dr. Grant instruct the officers on what to do, and when he was about to go in the hallway and pull a fire alarm, she was one step ahead of him, saying he's a calculated person, he's going to try to get attention, so if he pulls a fire alarm or does something,
he just wants to cause chaos. And
I love that because right at that moment, like I said, the movie does a good job with the pacing of making it a game. It's a one-upsmanship. How's he gonna be one step ahead of the fucking government, like all these police officers, when they're literally trying to find every single male? Like every single male is getting looked at from this. But let's move forward with it pacing wise. Whew, Lord, let's just get into it. So the concert. So you're probably wondering how the hell he gets out of here. Okay, this is where the movie tried to hit the emotional button, and it really tried to make you care about Riley, at least for me, it tried to make me care about Riley and her experience with Lady Raven. So Lady Raven, of course, who is played by M. Night Shyamalan's niece, and M. Night Shyamalan actually makes an appearance in this film. I think he did fine. He's the fucking director and writer. He's supposed
He
to do.
usually is in movies.
He usually is in his own movies, but whatever. He was in this one too. Very sad moment because the daughter ends up telling, Riley ends up telling Cooper, like, oh, when she does this dream, it's Dream Catchers. I forget what the name of the song. Dreamer Girl song. She brings a fan up to the stage. And when she brings a fan up to the stage, they get to also get access to backstage. And in the beginning...
Which is exactly... Because the black guy, once again, told him
the
only way to get out of here is backstage.
Niggas got to shut their mouths, man.
That wasn't even correct. But
and it was, he got like backstage, like the lanyard pass or whatever. But you're probably wondering, how's he going to do this? It's a random thing, right? No. Right when, because you said this earlier, right when the police were starting to come to the floor to check out the males on the floor, on that time, he goes to M. Night, which I think is, of course, it's him, it's M. Night. He's just standing there. It's a worker at the concert. It's a worker, but we know it's M. Night. And obviously M. Night uses himself literally as a plot device because he talks to him and he says, hey, my daughter really loves her. She's got leukemia.
She just recovered from leukemia.
And she just recovered from it. She doesn't want to talk about it though. It's not something she wants to have like addressed to people. And I'm like, damn, I was like, this dude's really sick. Mm-hmm. But we get what he's doing because he wants to have them pick her.
So he can go backstage.
Exactly.
And he'll know a way to leave.
It works. M. Night shows up. He takes them to the back. And right when he's about to get them to the stage, right before he gets them up there, the black officer who's doing his job, he's like, even though he's the dad and all that, I still got to check him. And M. Night uses himself as a plot device to literally push the story forward. Yeah. Because he leans over into him. We don't hear what he says, but I think it's just like a double layer of like, I need to move the story forward. So I'm literally going to move the story forward myself. So he leans over, he whispers to him, he tells him, obviously, cancer, we ain't gonna try to do all this, He's like, oh, okay, fine. Even though the black guy was looking at him a little bit weird, and if it was me, I'm still gonna have to check him. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, just check everybody.
I'd be like, okay, let's have the doctor look at him backstage. I don't care.
Bingo. So I'm like, anyways, I let him go. She goes up on stage and she does the dream. She does the song with Lady Raven, and it was a sweet moment because for people who you fangirl way over of a celebrity or a artist, it's your biggest dream come true. Not only am I singing up there with them, they picked me, of course, but Riley got no idea that it's because her dad lied about her having cancer. That's what I'm like. This is sickening, but it's also a tender sweet moment because for her she has no idea, she's just innocent, and so she's just hugging her dad. And then of course he tries to escape. He tries to make himself look even more good of a person because this other girl who's about to pass out, people pass out of concerts all the damn time. He catches a girl,
which is really just for him to get away from the doctor. So because he knows, he goes, oh, that woman knows what she's doing. Once she gets a look at me, she's gonna know.
Bingo, she's gonna know who he is. So of course he's able to escape just in time. And then we're finally we're like, okay, the concert's done. And then there was one more song. Kid Cudi was in this for like 3 minutes. We didn't fucking need him. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
I will say there was a part, M. Night, I don't know what you were doing in this aspect. So it was, of course, before her encore song, the lady had told us, hey, you guys are free to stay back here, and he's making sure like, hey, we can leave back here, right? She's like, yeah, you guys are all good. And then on top of that, we see that the girl, she gets off stage. She doesn't do anything weird. She just takes a little quick puff of an inhaler, make sure her hair is straight, just anything. And then it shows like, Kid Cudi kind of being an asshole to his assistant, once again, didn't really
Was he really being an asshole or was he just being himself? I'm just joking. That's all. Move on.
But yeah, he was being like, kind of like I said, being an asshole to his assistant. And then it was showing her, getting back ready because, they're about to go out and do the encore. But we were zooming in on what, M. Night? I just want to ask. And audience, I don't know what we were zooming in on. It showed her. I don't know if we were trying to zoom in on her having breathing problems because she needs an inhaler. Was it showing, which could have been used whenever he was banging on the door, which we'll get to. And then also, and then he had it. Look, I'm rewriting. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, we
gonna
gotta stop.
I'm
Stop
about to
rewriting.
rewrite
We
it.
have to stop
But
rewriting movies. We promised we weren't gonna do that no more.
But what I will say is the fact that after that, it's like I really just want to ask, what were you trying to show us in that moment? Because it literally showed us from Cooper's Cooper's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You know what was going on backstage, but that's what I want to know. What was going on backstage?
Exactly.
What am I looking at?
Once again, that is hey, count them, folks. That's the third plot. That's the third thing that we've gotten thrown at us that is not connecting to the overall story of the film. Is showing the actual inhaler. But let's move forward because they do get backstage. This is when we're introduced to, okay, he's backstage. We see Dr. Grant with all the FBI people in the other room. Once again, shot well. Like I said, it's Riley and Cooper in the hallway, but then you see just the half of Dr. Grant informing the FBI people with all these screens. She's like, we're checking every mail. We're doing over this. We're going to find him. We're going to find him in the next few minutes or so. And it builds that trepidation of like,
you guys will be talking to him in the next
you're
20 minutes.
You're talking the next couple minutes. It's nice because it's like, he's right fucking there and you don't know it. But it's those moments that are all right. But then you realize that the assistant woman comes up to him, and after she gives him some little merchandising bag, and it's so funny because the moment he reaches backstage, like he starts to feel himself like, oh, I made it out of here, right until the woman says, okay, you're gonna go down this hallway, and what's down that hallway?
A police check.
You didn't think you were going to get checked? But anyway, she tells him,
no.
we just need to check you real quick. It's nothing, it can't be you. Obviously, it can't be you. You're so nice. You're the dad. They didn't say that, but that's how the movie's presenting it. He immediately turns on his killer brain, like, what do I got to fucking do to get out of here? And then he finally, in my opinion, he finally just clicks and, okay, you really are. He just turns into the butcher, essentially, or like his most calculated version of himself. He uses the cancer again, and he leans over and talks to Lady Raven. He says, like, can I talk to you real quick alone? I just want to talk to you. I don't want to, you know my daughter's condition. She's nice. She brings him into her dressing room, but it worked because he just snapped. He just straight up said, I think you're looking for me. And once he started to smile and kind of just be like evilish, like, not only are you looking for me, like, I have this guy. He shows Spencer, who we saw him. He's the guy who's in his basement in the house that he got. That's where he keeps this guy. And he starts talking about carbon monoxide. When I'm thinking he's talking about carbon monoxide, I'm like, is this going back to the inhaler thing? What the hell are we talking about?
Yeah, and I thought it was going to be played into that.
And I'm like, are we going to play the inhaler thing in here? And how are we going to do it? This is why I feel like, so someone in the script room must have ripped out a page of the script, because we went from the carbon monoxide to I can just press the button and kill him right now, because he ends up showing her. He shows Lady Raven, like, I have him, and you're going to get me out of here, and we're going to ride in your limo, and because that's the only way you're going to get out. Like, that's the only way he's going to be able to get out of here without being checked, is if you're with the actual artist themselves. She has to go through with it, because if she ends up telling the police, he can literally just press it and just kill him, like he said, like calling an Uber. And moments like those, I'm like, okay, props to the acting from Josh Hartnett, because I'm like, dude, you are so fucking, you're so crazy, but you're sadistic, but you're also calculated. So I got to give it to you for we're this deep in the movie, and now you're revealing your true colors of he's this desperate. He literally has to use the artist against him. This is when Seleka is brought in, as her acting abilities are kind of shown here as Lady Raven. She brings him to the actual. She follows his orders, of course, and they're in the limo. And good on her, because she flips it and she's like, you know what, Riley, can I go to your house? And come on now, Riley's like, of course you can. Like,
let
you can
me ask my mom.
Let me ask my mom. And so she gets them to the house, even though Cooper's like, you can just drop us off here. It's like, no, dumbass. Like, no, it's not gonna work like that. They get to the house. This is when the layers start to really get peeled back, because you're right. She does end up telling the family about, like,
everything that they know about him.
Exactly. Like, this is why this concert was a little bit different, and it's the butcher. Do you know him? And
that was, you know what? That was probably my favorite part. Whenever she starts talking about his mom, because that's his trigger point, he stands up real quick, and I said,
good acting on there. Good reacting on there. She does push a few buttons, and she is describing him. She's describing the butcher kind of like as a wink to the wife of like, hey, he's right here. She does look at him when she says the butcher, and it's kind of like her way of being like, it could be him, look at him, but whatever. But Cooper still has his phone in his hand, so she knows like he can still kill him. So she takes it one step further, right when he's about to ask her to leave. Can I play something for you? Who the fuck's gonna say no to that on the piano? She has Riley sit next to her. She takes Riley's phone so that Riley doesn't find it, and obviously, right when Riley's done, Lady Raven's like, "Oh, let's take a picture." Riley's like, "Where's my phone?" Great moment. Lady Raven says, "Let me use your dad's." Takes
Right?
the dad's
She said,
phone.
yeah.
Takes the dad's phone so quick, and she's like, "Oh, okay, let me go to the bathroom." And this is, in my opinion, the best scene in the movie. This is what justifies the rating for us.
This was probably the best scene.
This was the best
us.
scene in the movie.
Yeah.
This definitely was, from all the stuff we've been talking about, this scene was good. She's in the bathroom. Boy, oh boy.
She has both of their phones because she doesn't have her own.
Exactly. Boy, oh boy, Cooper. Talk about a crash out. Hey, open the door. Open the door. Open the door. And the family.
Me my phone.
Give me my phone. And of course, the family's like, "You're scaring her. You're scaring her."
Oh my God, Dad, what's going on?
And
Stop.
a layer even further, she is an artist. So she thinks on the fly, fuck this, I'm going to use my fans. So she goes live. She looks absolutely petrified. And she's like, "Hey, guys, we got to save this guy named Spencer." You know, she's talking to Spencer, obviously, because she can talk through the phone.
Spencer first to figure out where
he was. He gives her a description, a broken statue, a blue door. You know, it's some town in Philly, whatever. She keeps talking to the audience on live to find out where it is, to have somebody go to the house to go find him. She's like, "We only got a few minutes." And like I said, the trepidation of it, because he kept banging so hard on the door, you can tell he's losing himself. Like, it's like, oh my God, fuck this, I'm being found out. Until the family, and you do hear the family in the background, and then you don't hear the family. And for that moment, I was thinking, yo, this boy really done crashed out and done fucked this family up.
I will say this, she did say we only have a couple of seconds, guys. And then she goes, "We only have a few minutes."
Yeah, we could have flipped it, just flip the script there. But it's, regardless, does it take away from the impact of the scene? Not really. It's a very good moment. And like we said, it's something we haven't seen before. We're so used to high profile figure people wasting your time on Instagram Live. This is one where you got to praise the people who immediately were there and wanted to talk and wanted to respond because they were helpful. She finally opens up the door, or he opens up the door, and he's like, "Can I have my phone back?" You know, and then he realizes, oh, the Spencer guy is gone. You know, they were able to get to him. Well, so good on the fans of Lady Raven for actually being able to show up.
Yeah, and he goes, like, "How'd you do that?"
And the movie was here. From that point on, we just went down because he brings. We could have ended it here. Like, from that point on, he brings her to the car. Like, he has his finger on her shoulder, trying to show, like, "I'm gonna keep it here. You know, I can tell how you're kind of feeling. You're nervous." He puts her in the car with him, and then we start to kind of get into his backstory. We don't need to do this late in the film.
It was basically, I'm pretty sure they probably were taught this in the lecture from the doctor. Mm-hmm. That's, trying to catch Cooper.
Yeah.
And literally, she just starts talking to him like his mom. But ultimately, it's like, I'm happy he didn't crash out in terms of, like, I thought he was going to hit her, punch her, something.
I thought he was going to knock her out.
I thought she was going to bleed somewhere.
And she was going to be in the back of the trunk, and we were going to, and he was going to dump her out in some field or something.
Yeah, but as soon as he probably was about to take her exactly where he even had Spencer, but then he sees the family is like, so obviously it's his, props to the son. The son really said, "I'm scared. I don't know what to do."
I don't think the son had a line, but you know what? That boy was scared as fuck.
And so they end up just being in front of the car whenever he opens the garage. And then, of course, the girl goes, okay, well, obviously the artist, Lady Raven, she knows, okay, I got to get out now because he's not going to run over his family. So she gets out, and then that's whenever he tells himself, he goes, this is what was never supposed to happen. I was never supposed to collide that world with this one because this is what happens with it. So
literally, he's two different people, and now that it's happened. She brings the family into. She obviously gets them away from him, and at this point, we're thinking, okay, they've got him. Psych. The nigga actually had a fucking trap door that led to
a tunnel to the neighbor's lawn, like to the neighbor's lawn.
I mean, damn. But at this point, I'm
guys,
like,
this is a big just screw up to me. Because why did it take you guys so long to get in that house?
That's what I'm saying.
It took you, because he was moving, because we saw him moving. I thought he was cleaning. I literally thought he was cleaning.
I thought he was preparing to kill himself.
Yeah.
Or he was doing his OCD thing.
Of like cleaning everything, making
and
sure everything's tidy.
And I was like, that makes sense.
But no, it's like literally, it took so long for them to get in the house. And then even the doctor was like, oh, let's keep eyes on him. What eyes did you have on him, babe? Because you guys should have been barging in there. Once you knew that lady, once the civilians were out, you should be going in there. Immediately.
Anyway, but what happens next? Let's just fast forward to when I think the movie should have ended, and then we'll go to the actual ending. So, what happens is, for somehow, some way, Lady Raven gets back into her limo. She thinks she's safe. We think they're all good. Then you hear a voiceover of what?
I'm gonna take her home now.
Nigga, what?
I'm gonna get her home now.
Worst driver in the history. If I'm Lady Raven, I'm firing you. I'm walking. I don't know. I'm taking myself where I need to go. Because the driver of that limo sold. Because you shouldn't be switching with some random person.
I'm pretty sure, because the black guy was like the one, I think his name was Jeremy. But he was the main guy that was like driving her, because I remember she texted like saying call 911.
Jeremy, something like that. Yeah. And it was called the police. Yeah, and he did.
And so he probably was like, oh, but ultimately, if I'm Jeremiah and I'm in charge of your life right now, and even if a SWAT guy comes up to me and says I'm taking you home, Jeremiah, how are you gonna get home?
Exactly. I'm
gonna be like, hey, Lady Raven, are you okay with this SWAT guy? And then if I get knocked out, hey, it happens.
Exactly.
But it's like, I'm just getting out because the SWAT guy is coming up to me. And also, where'd he get a SWAT uniform from, babe?
That's what I'm saying. We could have done little things where he has like little costumes. Let me go. So stop rewriting. Let me stop rewriting. Anyway, he ends up driving her, into this like it's like busy street in the city, and
like a bar kind of
like a bar district or something, and obviously he handcuffed her. He handcuffed her inside the actual limo.
Yeah,
and
once he shows himself
to be the actual driver. And this is a moment when I'm like, okay, we can end it here. This is a good little catch. Since he's being stopped, like since it's slow traffic at this time, and there's like people outside of the limo because they're like, oh, what's this limo doing here? Lady Raven's able to just reach over and bring down the window just a little bit. Of course, is that Lady Raven? Oh my God! And she says what? She's like,
help me!
Let me tell you something now. That's all you need. What? That's what this artist. The artist that was just at this fucking thing is saying, help me.
And was also just on live saying we need to go find this guy.
And she's saying, help me. And they don't react fast enough. But that's not it. Y'all probably wondered, oh, he's in the car, though. How the fuck does he... All these people are surrounding the car. He can't drive them. He can't run over them, clearly. How the fuck does he get out? So the SWAT pulls up again. They're just driving around the fucking bar. I know the SWAT's busy today. They probably get like 12 different addresses. Hey, bar district. Right over here, right? Anyways, they're like, okay, we're gonna, we know you're armed. We got you now. And I'm thinking, cool, well, they got him.
So you're probably thinking, like, where is Lady Raven at this point? So Lady Raven, she was handcuffed to the thing, but she ends up getting out. She does end up getting out. She ends up, using that girly strength, and she ends up getting out, and then she gets out of the car, and then her fans basically save her because she's surrounded by them. He's not going to get her in this big-ass crowd of people. Yeah. And then, so ultimately, whenever she gets out, I mean, y'all, I saw him instantly. It was maybe 5 to 10 seconds.
I did not see him.
And I saw him instantly. 5 to 10 seconds later, why is he in the crowd putting on a hat? Because they had a bunch of merch in the front anyway, because obviously, like, that was her limo of, like, from her concert. So she probably had a bunch of merch left over. And literally, or maybe just had some just lying around. And he literally just puts on the merch. Y'all, how do you get out the car with all the people around? How do you open the door without the SWAT noticing?
How many people do you think is in this limo? Okay? If you see the artist get out the limo... Okay, we know the artist is at the limo, so we know she's safe. So if she's saying help, wouldn't I think the only other person that's in the limo is the person driving it? And if she's saying help and the driver's not saying shit, put 2 and 2 together. I'm gonna start looking at I'm gonna start banging on the driver's door like, hey, she's saying help. Are you gonna? The nigga's gone. So when the police, let's pick up where I left off. So when the police are shooting, they shooting up. It's just the SWAT gear propped up. Look. Lazy. Okay? The movie should have ended there. He gets caught because the fans saved her. because you can't you were trapped in a fucking arena of 20,000 of them, and all it takes is a couple hundred to stop you. That doesn't work. Okay, let's back up. Right? Movie. Fuck it. Let's just go with that logic. What the fuck happened? What really happened at the end of this film? I want you to tell me and everybody else how the fuck he actually ended this.
So he ends up just walking away. Isn't it funny? Because we hear over the radio, don't let any of them get away. He literally walks away. Literally is already walking away. Like I said, I don't understand. To me, it just made no sense of how he got out of the car at all. Whether or not he sneaked out through the back. First of all, she got out in the back way. He would have to get out of the driver's side, or I guess the passenger side. How did he get out with no one noticing him in that big ass crowd? And how did the SWAT not hear doors closing whenever they get out? Unless he magically did it at the exact same time she got out. Literally, that's basically what they're insinuating. He got out the exact same time she got out, even though he clearly saw her get out. And leave.
He actually got out from the roof. He just jumped straight up from the roof.
No, he went invisible actually. Then he got out.
But
for sure.
But like we said, but go ahead, Chris, as M. Night Shyamalan always does. How did he really end this fucking film?
This is whenever he just starts to drag it. So he ends up going. So then we end up seeing, the wife. Love the wife, Miss Allison. We end up going back to the wife at home, and he starts realizing, hey, this wasn't even set up by them. This was set up by you. And is that supposed to be a twist?
Oh my God!
Alert!
I didn't know. I didn't fucking care.
And so randomly he takes his shirt off, folds it. I don't know what that was, but he's
Had
particular.
To be in the contract.
I think it was probably because he's a butcher, so he doesn't want to get his clothes messy. I started smelling like cleaning supplies, like hospital cleaning supplies, and he was just like, "Yeah, well, there's no way I can get rid of that, honey, huh? Being a weirdo, being a creep, but he is a serial killer." And then inevitably they're just talking. This is when I'm like, this is dragging. We've gone back to this house too many times. And the kids are right now with her sister. I don't know how. Yeah, the kids right now are with her sister. And so so Allison ends up saying, let's share this last piece of pie. Okay. No. Y'all, this is a big plot point that I'm about to explain to y'all. Let's have this pie. Let's have this one last pie. She never eats it. I already know something's in it because she's not eating it, right? She puts some of the powder drugs that he has them go to sleep. And he goes, it's just to help them make, be less anxious. But of course we know it's to get them, discombobulated, to get them, passed out so they don't know where the fuck's going on or where they're going. Mm-hmm. Ends up doing that. He eats it in 5 bites, just like how he said he would. And she goes, yeah, I know. And we already can tell because she looks scared as hell. And then so he literally... So then he's trying to get up now. He's like, I gotta get out of this. I won't be able to kill her today, but hey, I'm gonna try tomorrow maybe.
Yeah,
Gets
run
up,
it back.
Sees his mama in the doorway. Now his real mom, obviously we never know about the mom. Sorry guys.
Remember that plot point?
That doesn't go anywhere.
Doesn't
go anywhere. And so he's basically just he's talking to her, and she's probably like, Allison, his wife is looking like, ooh, this man is crazy, because like I said, she already knew. He was like, it's gonna be another murder suicide. It's gonna be nothing more than that in the papers, because I'm gonna kill you, and it sucks because it's like, damn, if you love your kids that much, you would let them live without their mama too. You already know you're going away.
But then he at the dinner table said, instead, like, usually when he kills people, he's like, he feels this sense of like peace or calmness over him, or like the process that he does this, it's like normal to him, but he's just angry at his wife.
He said, I'm so
because he's like, now I can't see my kids. Once again, we'll never understand the mind of a serial killer, but it's like, how are you gonna be mad about that, but then that you're the reason why? But anyways, the mother at the door.
Yeah, the mother at the door ends up really being the doctor. And why are they, y'all, remember they shot him in the limo, right? Well, why are they tasing him now?
Yeah, in the limo, they were spraying that window.
And also, they got another man killed. There's literally, so he's walking toward, the front door. And once you guys see the house, you'll see, like, kind of the setup. But it's like the kitchen in the back. And then you walk toward, and it's kind of like the living room. Mm-hmm. And he's walking straight toward the front door because he's thinking he's talking to his mom. Because just remember how we said Lady Raven was talking to him like his mom. It kind of gets him it gets him a little out of control a little bit. Because it's like taking him back to probably that trauma that started this all, which we'll never know. We don't know. He ends up walking toward the door. Like I said, it's a doctor talking to him, and then he gets tased by 2 guys. He ends up full force running like a gorilla toward one of them, gouges his eyes out. That's the only squeamish, or if you're worried about that blood type stuff, it's very quick. He ends up literally gouging this man's eyes out. I'm sure that man is probably dead or disabled now.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other guy, he's like running toward him, but then here comes the doctor. She sprays him, and that's when we reveal it's the doctor. Girl, we knew it wasn't his mama. Like, we knew that.
And we mean sprays, we mean tase. Like, they just tase him. They just tase him.
And then he ends up falling down finally. And then, okay, guys, and then you're thinking, oh, it's done now. He's been caught. Okay,
Even
no.
more.
there's one more thing. So then
Lord.
so then this makes, once again, guys, very unrealistic. You just caught a serial killer. You have them all handcuffed. You know, the big ones where it's like, you know, around your ankles, your legs. You know, you can't just like get out of them, and you know.
He's clearly detained.
So literally, he's OCD. But while he's walking toward the SWAT car, where you know they're about to take him off the police detainment, he literally goes, "Hang on, give me 1 minute." He's being OCD again, and he just lifts up the bike. But inevitably, he gets something off of that bike that ends up getting him out of the handcuffs. That's literally the end of it. But then also, guys, once again, very unrealistic. They're not going to let you touch anything.
Hell no.
They're not going to let you go anywhere.
Hell no.
And then on top of that, I'm sorry, if tasing you 3 times didn't stop you, they're probably going to have to use some sort of inevitable force, you know?
They're definitely, the walk from the house to the back of the SWAT car, the fact that you even let him move on his own, that's unrealistic.
And then
he's
I
been
thought they
doing
were all
this for
scared.
7 years, y'all.
They were all scared because they were all jumping every time
Exactly.
he jumped.
Which understandable because he's a threat, but it's also like the fact that you even let him go to do that is one thing.
And then also on top of that, here comes his daughter running toward him. Here comes little Riley. You know what? Once again, love the son. He went straight to his mama.
The son was like,
he
I
said,
don't even fuck with this dude.
He
said,
I
who's
don't know
that?
what's going
You're
on.
not my dad.
Probably
You're
because
not
he was
my
so traumatized by how his dad was slamming on the door and throwing them into a room.
Yeah, because he locked all of them into Riley's room when he was trying to go after Lady Raven. And then that's how they got out off of a tree,
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't plan for that. I didn't...
Yeah, and then literally he ends up, like I said, and then here comes his daughter Riley coming toward him. Why are y'all letting him hug her?
Exactly.
No, your dad's a killer, and you know what? You know what would him jacked up? What if he ends up killing her?
Could have snapped her neck right now.
Why you guys said, oh, if I can't, just kills her real quick. Just kills her real quick because he's like, oh, I'm going to go away for like ever now. Like, it's the end. I don't care about your mom. Look at your brother. He ran away from me. I don't care. I only care about you now. Let me kill you because I'm about to be sent away forever and I don't want you to be around them, you know? And that's literally how it ends, guys. He gets out the handcuffs because of the bike that they let him, which once again, guys, he must be a magician because we saw him clear as day move the bike from upright to right there. And then once again, M. Night, you do that, you do that stupid zoom in stuff. We're zooming into the bike. But it's all just to show he had to... Guys, and it's not even like a little paper clip. Something that might have been on the bike, right?
It's one of the little... I'll give a visual aid of what it is here. Like, literally, it will be right here. What it is, what he takes away.
But if you guys see it, it's long. You can put that up your sleeve around all these SWAT people. You can do that?
It is late at night, but let's not justify this. It shouldn't have ended at that point. He gets out of the trap because once again, that's what the movie is. He was supposed to be trapped and he never is. That is the movie. That is what happened. So let's go ahead and wrap up.
You can count how many plot holes there were.
Yes, there's a lot of plot holes. Let's go ahead and just tell you guys the acting. First off, I will give let's just go ahead and give a quick little round of applause for Mr. Josh Hartnett. You're a psycho. You played it well. You played a goofy dad well. You played the psycho well, and you played this meticulous,
nice guy, yeah.
The nice guy. You played this meticulous, almost unstoppable force of a person well. I'll give you that. Also, Ariel Donahue, you did great as Riley too. Adorable daughter. She was very nice in the film, and you can tell that she just had no idea what's going on. It went from pretty much the greatest night of her life to the most traumatic. So just like that.
Hey, but it's a night she'll remember, just like he said.
And then, like I said, this is the third time I'm gonna say it. Shout out to M. Night Shyamalan's niece Salika. She actually wrote the music that was in the movie.
Wrote, produced, and sung it.
And she did a good job of acting, which I thought, it was good. She showed a lot of fear in that third act, and like I said, that bathroom scene was all her. It was just her being scared, so I got to give it to her. Dr. Grant, you're Dr. Grant, you know, it's whatever. And then Allison Phil, you know, your girl, she did a good job in the end in that third scene too. And then I'll even give something to Jonathan Langdon as the vendor. He was funny. You know, he was the only comic relief we needed in the movie. Any other comic relief they tried didn't really do anything. But I'd say that the acting was good. Yeah. It's just that, like I said, it's the execution of the film itself. It could have been done better. Now, let's go ahead and quit with all this yapping. We've been at this for a minute, but you already know. Let's go ahead and get to the rating of the film. We ended up giving Trap a solid C. We ended up giving it a C. So it was still all right. I
wanted to give it a C minus, but we decided on C. Yeah. Because you guys saw how I was talking about it. There's too many issues in it for me to give it. But the reason why is because of the acting and because I would be able to watch it again.
That is a big thing. We will say this. Is this a movie you need to see in theaters? No. But is this a movie you can watch, like, you know, during Halloween and like during October just for fun? Yeah.
You can throw it on for the fam.
I'd rewatch this again just to kind of look at some things that happened again. I do look forward to future works from Josh Hartnett, but officially, listen, guys. I know we've been saying this a lot of times. M. Night, this is it. All right, nigga? This is it. We're done. This is the best movie you've put out in the last God knows how long, and it's still a C. But we're done because when I see you writing and directing something, hell, if I see anything from a Shyamalan that's writing or directing anything, it's not a cup of tea.
Get us in that room. We'll help you.
Put us in the room, okay?
We will help.
We will help.
Because you have the best ideas.
That's what I'm saying. Who thinks of a movie of a serial killer trying to escape out of a concert and the concert's a trap? Come on now. That's fire. But anyways, like I said, we're not going to rewrite it. We could do that all day. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, it's been a pleasure to have you guys on the Zay's World channel.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
I don't know why she says it like that. But anyways, this has been Zay here and Chris, and we appreciate you guys, and peace out. Okay.